All right, we are following breaking news in Miami where social media influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate were in federal court today.
The Tate brothers were arrested on Saturday, facing 38 new charges in the UK, including rape. The UK's Crown Prosecution Service said the charges covered alleged offenses from July 2010 to August 2017. An attorney for the brothers vehemently denied wrongdoing, saying today they are innocent.
I think the general public can see that this is a political hit job. It's designed to rob my clients of their due process rights in America and to clear their name. They've been in solitary confinement for a couple of days. They're dressed in orange jumpsuits like al-Qaeda prisoners. We will make sure that we exhaust all remedies before they're sent over to the communist regime, previously known as the free place of the United Kingdom.
All right, joining us now is NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos. And Danny, the Tate brothers already face a slew of previous charges in the UK. So talk about these new counts and why they're coming now.
Well, apparently, I'm here in the UK, and these are new complainants or victims who have come forward in either Hertfordshire or Bedfordshire. These are areas just north of London. So you have new complainants and new allegations on top of allegations that were already pending in the UK, of course, totally separate from those in the case that is still existing in Romania.
So, Danny, how does the extradition process potentially work here?
In theory, the way it works is there is a court hearing. The U.S. Marshal Service picked them up pursuant to a treaty. The U.S. has a treaty with Great Britain, with the U.K., and pursuant to that treaty, what we're supposed to do is apprehend and turn over people after a court hearing. But the court hearing is not about guilt or innocence. The court hearing is really very minimal. It's about whether or not is there a valid treaty and really some threshold issues to decide before they decide to turn them over. But what's key is that the DOJ has to be involved, and also the Secretary of State finally, at the end, once it passes the court, has to sign the warrant to send these brothers out of the country.
Danny, the Tate brothers are also under investigation in Romania, facing also these previous charges in the UK. How does that factor in here, if at all?
Well, in theory, the Romanian case was supposed to be pending, and the understanding was that the UK would delay their prosecution. But now you have these new charges. The brothers have left Romania. The brothers are now in the U.S., which they should have known that this is a place that has a robust extradition treaty with the UK. You know, there are a lot of countries that are reluctant to hand over their own citizens. The U.S. is not one of those countries.
All right, Danny Cevallos, thank you so much.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.